And actually, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because I know me.
So that's our life mission. That's the McShin's mission.
You don't have to understand my boundaries to respect them.
Well, no, I'm the president and co-founder of McShin, a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorders.
How do you go about fixing the damage in the trust between the family after you get out?
And like, okay, I gotta work on that. Like,
Celebrating my 6 months. Didn't have a cake.
Yeah.
gosh, you showed up.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the McShin Foundation's Get in the Herd podcast, award-winning Get in the Herd podcast. A couple years ago, it was voted Richmond's #1 podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't know what happened after that. I think they did away with the voting. But this is McShin's Foundation's Get in the Herd, award-winning podcast. We got a lot of stuff we try to do on here. We do different things throughout the week. Tonight, we got a special guest. But I'm here with my co-host, Travis Williams.
What's up, y'all? Trav.
Anything other than that? Just what's up?
Nothing good, just a hi. This is Travis broadcasting with my good buddy Jess and my good friend Timothy.
All right. And we got a special guest today, Timothy Glenn, somebody I've known for a little while. We kind of have similar paths in what got us clean, the same kind of place. Well, the same place. We both ended up at a place that pretty much saved our lives. So maybe, I don't want to tell too much about Timothy's story. I'll let him tell that as we get into some questions. But before we do that, I do want to also say we got our Wizard of Oz back. I like to call him the Wizard of Oz because you can't see him. So you know how Wizard of Oz, there was like a curtain and you couldn't see what was going on.
A veil.
Yeah, veil. Yeah. That's Steve back there. No cameras can shine on him.
No.
We need to fix that. Everybody needs to see Steve.
Camera 3.
Yeah, camera 3.
Steve looks like a rock and roll guitar player. Did you play guitar?
I do.
See, I knew it, man. I knew it.
Nailed it.
Did you have that information in advance, Jesse?
You know what, Steve? You just messed up because we will be having you play the guitar on the podcast.
Oh, I'm on it.
That's what I'm talking about. So we got Steve back there. Steve, if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Steve. I'm helping with the media. I'm a PRS also here, helping to heal families and save lives.
All right. Thank you,
Whoa,
Steve.
whoa. That made my intro look super bad.
That's the goal, Steve. We always got to make Travis look super bad.
Yeah. Mission
That's a bonus.
accomplished.
You should have been there this morning. Yo, you were in community this morning.
Yeah.
We had a little fun.
How'd you feel about? How'd you feel about that?
That was interesting.
Can you explain for us what went down in there?
We had participants raising issues and choosing consequences for each other. It's a democratic system of justice there.
So let me ask you this, Steve. Were you in morning stand-up?
Yes.
What went down in there?
You know what went down? You can play the guitar and he can sing.
That could happen.
But I don't know. There's no guitar playing with that Whitney Houston song. Is it? That's
Yeah. Chris Cornell actually covered that song, and Dolly Parton originated "I Will Always Love You."
Okay.
And so it is kind of a country song to begin with,
And you're kind of a country dude.
And
so,
sometimes I can be a little bit country, a little bit rock.
All right. Let me. I want to go over a few things first. We got some events coming up, so I want to go over them just real quick. Some events, and also want to throw out there to anybody watching. Cricket, that is not true.
The bongos.
Or the drums. You remember, you seen that movie Step Brothers?
Yes.
Oh, you seen that movie, Tim?
Don't touch my drums.
So, Cricket, it's good to see you, man. Cricket's been on vacation. Enjoy your vacation, Cricket. So anybody out there listening or watching live, this does get streamed through our social media platforms. We stream it through YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel. So please take a second and just subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Like and share it. If you're friends with Timothy here, make sure you do that. Subscribe to the podcast. Like and share this content because I know he's going to rock it out with what he's got to say. So please like and subscribe to the podcast, to our YouTube channel. So some upcoming events. August August. Let me get this date correct. August 9th, which is actually tomorrow. August 9th, tomorrow, we will be having a Recovery Jeopardy pie in the face contest. So if you don't like any of the staff that work here, or if you just want to put a pie in their face, if you just want to put a pie in one of their faces, if you love them but like them, some have that love-hate relationship. Like you love them and then you hate them. You hate them when they're calling you out on their stuff. So tomorrow we got Recovery Jeopardy, and that will start around 5:30. Each one of our houses, we have 16 recovery houses. They have a representative from their house. They will be asked certain recovery-related questions. These recovery-related questions will be geared towards any pathway to recovery. So we're open to all pathways to recovery. So any pathway to recovery, they'll be questioned, and if they get a minimum of 2 right, then they'll be able to put a pie in the face. Cricket, you got out of town just in time, too. I see that. Jason Ease, my man, what's going on, Jason? Good to see you up on here. Make sure you subscribe and like the podcast, Jason. I see you doing big things, too. I think Jason's a past participant here, if anybody knows Jason. Real good dude. He was a house leader for a while and did some driving for us. So come out tomorrow. Come out tomorrow, Jason. You should come out and see this pie in the face stuff. It's going to be fun. Anybody else out there listening, come. Timothy, if you're around, come check it out.
No, pie in the face. Oh, yeah, I'm coming through.
All right, good stuff. So we will be doing that tomorrow. That's one of our events. That'll be on Facebook Live. So we're going to stream it live. That is our plan. We're going to put it out live so you can, see the competition, see what everybody's doing, see who wins and loses. And then our next event after that, we have Care Talks. Care Talks is August 18th. August 18th starts at, I think, 6 p.m. Is that right, Steve?
Yes,
Care Talk,
6
6 p.m., 6 to 8. There's a break in between, and there's some wonderful speakers that are going to be speaking. I don't have the list in front of me, but there's a few speakers that are speaking. Steve, you don't have the list, do you? But anyways, come out. So Care Talks is similar to TED Talks. But it's all focused on recovery. So it's just people in there talking about recovery, different recovery topics. So that'll be going on 6 to 8. And then we have an event August 31st. It's Overdose Awareness Vigil. We call it overdose awareness, but if you've lost anybody as a direct result of substance use, come out there. Come out there, check it out. There'll be a couple speakers. And we do a little vigil. So you can definitely come out and check that out. And then September 4th, we have a Labor Day cookout. Our cookouts are pretty fun. We'll, hamburgers, hot dogs, chips. It's free food. So anytime there's free food, that's always good. So come out there, free food. There might be some music playing, some cards going on, some cornhole. So come check that out. And then September 9th, we got Recovery Fest. And Travis, I'm going to let you explain Recovery Fest a little bit.
No, I was going to ask you to explain it, actually break it down, because I was interested.
Oh, so you've never been to one?
Nah, paint us a little.
You've never been to Recovery Fest?
I don't think so. Maybe it was called something different when I went. Explain.
Steve, did you go last year?
I did not. I started right after that.
Right after Recovery Fest? Timothy, have you ever been to one of our Recovery Fests?
I have been to a Recovery Fest. It was pretty good. A lot of good speakers that come through. The barbecue was awesome.
Okay.
And the seafood is good too. They had some good fish fried up. It's just good, clean fun that I came to. Like I said, it's a lot of questions that people might have had. A lot of family members of people that were in recovery too. They got to intermingle with those that were in recovery. So,
cool.
Like, it's like the public and those that are in the program together. But everything was clean. And,
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
so educational fun.
So so it's educational fun. It's recovery fun. So Recovery Fest, typically, historically, we've done it at a couple different places before. McShin has had it at another church in Hanover at one time. There was an event there. That was way before I worked here. I remember going to, because I just was in recovery. And when you're in recovery, you hear about different things happening in the community, and that was one of the big events we would always hear about. Went out there. There was bands, music playing, food, speakers, games. And vendors, vendors, when I say vendors, it's going to be different organizations or companies that might be selling some type of product. It could be jewelry, it could be purses, or they could just be not selling anything, just promoting some good services for people in recovery. We've had it here a lot of times. It's been right here at McShin in our parking lot here. But this year we're having it at Hanover. Do you have the address? Do you have it by chance over there, Steve? If not, call in. It's in Hanover. It's at the Ruherton Club in Hanover. It's a very, very great place. It's a good place, a lot of room. We're not having the barbecue competition, but we are having a People's Choice for the barbecue. That's a People's Choice competition. That's going to be fun. We're doing that. We're going to have some food vendors. We're going to have a jumpy house for the kids. We're going to have a cornhole tournament. We're going to have a band playing, a couple of different musicians there, and some speakers. And just, lots of fun. It'll be lots of fun. So come out, check it out. We're still accepting sponsorships. So if anybody's interested in sponsoring it, definitely reach out to us. And we also are still accepting vendors, so you can come and be a vendor as well. So come check that out. It's one of our. It is our biggest event, and it's actually one of the best events around. Real good event, real good fun. Everybody's welcome. We want everybody to come out there and have a good time. That's what's important in recovery. When I first got in recovery, I struggled with that, because I thought the only way I could have fun is, drinking, smoking, doing my thing, and if I wasn't able to do that, I didn't think I could have fun. And so, this is to show that you can have fun out there in recovery. So those are some upcoming events. Mo, I see you out there, Mo. All right, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Mo. I bet you probably haven't yet. Mo might not be as technologically inclined. Yeah, he's a garden guy. He's got his own garden over there.
Green thumb.
Yeah, he's a green thumb. He's got his garden growing vegetables. I don't know how good they're doing. Mayor is probably carrying him in that department, though.
He did great at the spiritual service.
Yes, that's right, man. I was listening, man. Mo, you killed it, man. Dropping jewels Sunday. So everybody out there, we have a spiritual service. We got a spiritual service every Sunday. Spiritual service is great. Sometimes we'll have the Breaking the Bondage will conduct it, and sometimes McShin will conduct it on their own. But the spiritual service is something we've been doing for a long time. And we'll have speakers come in there. And Mo came in last Sunday and did a wonderful job. It was really good message. And we're always looking forward to that. So that's another thing you can log in and tune. That gets posted on our YouTube as well. So check it out, everybody out there. So one thing I want to throw out there before we get into what we're doing. We got a lot of events coming up. So we'll continue to go over these events because we got more in September, but I'll go over those. I'm a little closer to it. We got a lot of events coming up. This is kind of event year for us. So one thing that we want to get with this podcast is our goal is to get content out there to help people in recovery. That's our goal. Help people that aren't in recovery and people that are in recovery. Anybody out there suffering from substance use disorder or mental health, we want to get content out there to help them, and we want to get content out there as well to help the community so they don't. Because a lot of times we're stigmatized out there in the community. So we want to get that content out there. We want to educate, and we want to give some good recovery material out there to help the individuals that are just like us. And one good thing that this podcast does is it's over 500 jails and prisons. The last time we had ran numbers, over 500 jails and prisons throughout the United States and Puerto Rico that get this content. So it's out there. So, if you're looking to sponsor, if anybody out there looking to sponsor, this content's out there. It's out there. It's reaching a lot of people. We got a couple sponsors coming on. We'll be announcing them probably Thursday, I think, is the goal to announce them. We got a couple sponsors coming on, so we're looking forward to announcing them. We're honored to have some sponsors finally, so we will be announcing them. But, as we get to talking now, we're going to get ready to talk. Keep that in mind, fellas, as we're here and we're talking. The people we're reaching, it's out there. So we need to get this message out there. So those tuning in, like, subscribe, share. All right. So last week, our last podcast, we had Barbie on here. Barbie Hunt is one of our staff members. It was, Barbie's returning from her vacation was kind of our theme. We got to talk about all kinds of different stuff, and I did get some good constructive criticism from some people out there. And one was they thought that there was some behind the scenes inside jokes, and y'all didn't understand. Yeah, and there probably was some inside jokes. We're gonna get a little better at that. Travis has some inside jokes all the time, so we'll try to get better at explaining why we're laughing. We like to laugh and have fun. So, if we laugh and have fun, we might try to explain, why. Hopefully it won't look like there's some inside stuff going on. So I want to talk about Tim. I want Tim. Tim. I've known Tim for a good while. So first, Tim, if you could just tell us what you do for a living, maybe. Tell us a little about yourself. What you got going on in your life.
Okay. Well, my name is Timothy Glenn. I am currently with my ministry, which is Restoration Fellowship Christian Center. I serve the Bishop Kevin C. China Sr. and Pastor Tawana China, who actually released me to go out and to talk about or share what my gifting is, because they believe that we're teaching on the giftings and make room for ourselves. So,
what was their names?
Pastor Bishop Kevin C. China Sr. and Pastor Tawana China.
Okay, all right. And what's the name of the church?
Restoration Fellowship Christian Center.
Restoration Fellowship Christian Center.
Yes,
Okay, all right.
RFCCVA.org.
When do they have their services?
Our services are at 10 o'clock on Sundays, and we have Bible school on Thursdays at 7 p.m.
Okay. Anybody out there interested in going and checking out a service? 10 a.m. on Sundays, and the Bible studies when?
At 7 p.m. on Thursday.
7 p.m. Thursdays evening. So, if you're interested, check them out. All right. Sorry. Keep going. Tell us what you're doing.
So, I actually work for Medicare now. I've been doing that for over 9 years now. Thankful to recovery. But like I say, that's another story within the.
Well, I got to interrupt you again. I'm sorry. What do you mean you work for Medicare? Explain that one. There.
Well, all right. What I do, I am what is considered ISG, or internal support group. So I help the newer people that's coming in that explain about claims. If a person goes to the doctor, they don't know how to. They say they have an issue with the claim, or if they have an issue or trying to find out a certain script or how to explain certain things. So sort of like in recovery, where somebody coming in and don't know how to explain the steps or don't know how to explain the spiritual principles, and everything actually works hand in hand. So that's basically what I've been doing now. I've been working with them for about 9 years now. I just celebrated. It's my 9th year this year. So kind of hyped up about that. And outside of that, coming here at McShin Foundation, teaching the Thursday sessions, speaking on the spiritual principles behind the steps. Well, I thank y'all. A lot of people don't allow, especially when they're talking about the God piece, they like try to get away from that. Say, oh man, no, you want to bring the Bible up into this, but they gotta. In step 3, it tells me that I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. So I have to talk about God.
Yeah.
But where a lot of people are getting away from, to where they try to make it man-made, to where if that's the case, then I might as well say that I'm my own best sponsor, in which we know that it's a power greater than ourselves that restores us to sanity. So, so basically that's basically where I just stick to that. I'm not going to lower that in no way, form, or fashion, because I didn't lower myself when I tried to get high and drunk. So I got to match that with the same intensity. So like I said, everything that I'm around, everything that I do, I try to match whatever I did in the negative with the positive, with even the more. So that's basically what I'm doing now, working on the program. It's called Foresee It to Be It, which is challenging choices to change the conditions to help people coming out from jails and prisons to transition back into society, to with the partnership with McShin Foundation, which y'all actually helped me to get to start that on the road, getting to teaching that. And yeah, man, trying to save as many people as possible, man, one person at a time.
Is that a resource for somebody that's just getting out of prison, or is it a resource for like a reentry purpose while they're still in jail? What you just explained.
Actually, it's the way the vision for that is going to start while you're in jail.
So part of reentry.
Part of reentry to where once you come out. So the whole vision of it is to mend families. And the same thing and with our ministry, the core scripture is for the ministry is Isaiah 58:12. Talk about being a repairer, being a restorer. And then once we're repairing and restoring, once we get back into the positions where we're supposed to be, then we can start mending. A person to start learning, but when the best place to start is where you at. So while you're there, start learning, like what you had getting in the herd now, to where you have access to material to where, okay, I don't know how to live. It said, talk about rehabilitation. I've never been habilitated. Where you take rehabilitation, the word re is to do again. I haven't learned how to be habilitated. I haven't learned how to be me myself. I was never a person who was accountable for what I said. My integrity was shot. I'm still now working on things with bad decision making, grabbing on things, credit being terrible, trying to get back into paying my creditors off, making sure if I say I'm gonna pay you this, I'm gonna actually pay you this, and not pull from here to pay this.
So just to make sure I'm tracking correctly, so
Yes.
could this be explained as like a faith-based life skills training type program?
Yes, everything is Christ-centered. It's going to teach about the Word, and how to apply the Bible and the steps. So the Bible basically is the foundation, just like in the Big Book. It says we all know that we have a concept of God. Now the steps is basically teaching the discipline of how to apply it to our lives.
But on top of that, it's going to be like you said, like showing them how to balance checkbooks and or like life skills.
Right. The more,
Okay.
yeah, because you have three laws in which our bishop had taught us. We have three laws. We have a moral law, we have a domestic law, we have a spiritual law. So the moral law and the domestic law, that's the natural what we have here. That's going to line us up. Because if we can't treat each other right, how are we going to be in line with God? Which goes back a step again. That's the spirituality or that spiritual separation. So once we get all of that back in line again, that's when we can start being good people.
Go ahead.
Well, let me. I just wanted to ask you, how do you handle? So when you're teaching that, you got. You're doing it with some individuals that might be. You said it's focused on coming out of prison or jail.
Yes.
How do you handle the individuals that aren't receptive to it? Like if they're like, I ain't really trying to hear this Jesus stuff. What's your method there?
Well, when it comes to that, I put myself out there because I wasn't trying to hear it at first. To where give it to a person to where like in a parable form. Say, okay, I'm not trying to hear Jesus. All right, cool. Who was? I wasn't trying to hear. I wasn't even trying to hear my parents. I wasn't trying to hear the law. And if you take him out of the picture, then you got to take out any type of grace that we have, or any type of learning that we have. Have up to that point to where. Point in case, when I went to church, I was raised up in church. So they were saying, well, you're doing all this. So, man, I ain't trying to hear God because I'm seeing my mother. I saw me myself. I saw my mother go to church and I saw her struggle. But yet I saw somebody else standing on the street. But yet I saw them with more money than my parents. But they didn't do anything, but they sold drugs. So they trying to tell me, go to school, stay out of trouble, get a job. You could be like my parents. But yet I'm seeing somebody that stands on a corner that don't do nothing. They go to church and give money to the church. But yet, how you could say that you believe in a God that you don't see, but I see y'all struggling, but yet here's somebody right here who's selling drugs and who out here who don't go to work, who's breaking the law. So, with that, and the end result, what happened was I followed that, but at the end, it was jails, institutions, and death. But yet, on this other side, when you're dealing with, dealing with Christ, you learn about sacrifice. You learn about generosity. You learn about wanting for another person. So you have to deal with that. If you take him out the picture, then you don't have love. You don't have patience. You don't have none of the things that we really search for.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Just asking about
Go
the
ahead.
program in and of itself. So would this be like a mandatory part of reentry, or would this be like a sign up program for them? So because that would deal with like the question that Jesse's asking, like if somebody doesn't want anything to do with it. So how is this? And also part two to that question, have y'all piloted this program, or is this something in the works?
That right there, right now, it's still in the division it's in the vision portion. It's a little things we got to work out.
Yeah.
As far as the ins and outs, as far as because it's going to be where a person makes the steps.
Right.
You got
So
to be willing.
so nobody's done it yet. So you don't have
No.
anybody in it yet.
No,
So
nobody
that's
has
the
done it
plan
yet.
is to kind of get it into
Right,
fruition.
right.
Okay, I got you. So let's go to the question then. When you're doing groups, because you you're out. You're doing a lot of ministry. Like I see you. You're
Yep.
out. Like you're trying to reach people that need help and tell them about Jesus, God, or just tell them about a new way of life is what you're trying to do.
Right.
You do it here, and I think you do it at other places too. How do you approach those that aren't receptive? I know, like for me, because when you were sharing earlier, you brought up something about like when you were young, your mom was very very religious, right? That's how it was for me. Like my mom was, she was a strict Mormon faith, yeah, and
Right.
and like for me, it was like you got to get up, you got to go to church, you got to become a priesthood, you got to hold this calling, you got to do this and that, and like it really turned me away. Like I really actually got turned away from it, and I started like kind of balking at my mom, and at the whole religious stuff. So like how do you handle it? Because I know it's got to happen, because that's one of the ones that I think a lot of people fight.
Yeah.
When you start putting a name on God, like whether it's Jesus, Muhammad, or Allah, there's when you start putting a name on God, people like push and fight. So how do you handle that? Because it's got to happen for you.
It happens a lot. It happens, and it happens more than not. And the first thing I remind everyone, I said, well, if you take God, or if you take Jesus out of it, then you have to eradicate the steps. The first three, or the foundation of the steps, are dealing directly with God. First step is I admit that I'm powerless. And then step 2, I say I came to believe that a power greater than myself. And then in step 3, which concludes it, is the description of the power greater than myself, which is I became willing to, willingness of letting God say, oh, okay, now I know it's God. And now, boom, there it is. So now to where, like you say, a lot of us, we know who God is. It's not like we don't know. It's just that we have a disconnect because we've disconnected ourselves because, like you say, I grew up around what I actually embodied. I thought that, okay, my mother, I prayed, we all grew up in church, said, okay, pray, God answers, there's no poor problems.
Yeah.
God just wipes everything out, just zaps it out the way. But nah, that's not it. We're taught to overcome because through Jesus, we saw how to overcome because he endured the cross, he endured the whipping, he endured the same people that he fed with the same ones who turned their back on him. What we see every day. People that's out there that's teaching the truth, what do people do? The same one that they feed. Once the food is gone, okay, now they're trying to hold you accountable. You see it as a staff member. You feed people, you clothe them, you house them, and then the same ones that you feed, clothe, and house, the same. Now, when it's coming back, okay, now you got to be held accountable for these things. You have to hold this true to be holy, because if it's not, then you're going to leave room for the other things to come creep in. That's when the problem comes in.
So Timothy,
Yep.
like I'm hearing him,
Yep.
what you're explaining is, and the way they put it in the steps is the God as you understood him.
Yeah.
So like Jesse, I think like the question is, so if that's not the God of their understanding, do you find it like a headbutting thing, trying to explain your point of view to them? No.
Well, because like I said, the God of your understanding. I understood God. I didn't understand him. But like I said, the God of my understanding would restore me to the sanity that I was looking for but never had. And that's the thing. People try to play on the word, oh, man, that's a God of my understanding. Okay, well, give me your understanding of who God is. They can't explain it. So if you can't explain it, how can you understand? You can't explain it. You can't
So
understand.
is that like a fundamental part of your group trying to explain the God as you understood him?
Just an actual fundamental, a defining of who God is, basically.
So I got you. So not like your understanding, but their understanding. You're trying to help them get an understanding of who God
Right.
is to them.
Right.
That's good. That's good. Because
Right.
yeah.
Because if I don't understand, like I say, if you don't understand, then how can you say that you're sober? If I don't understand, how can I say that I had my step 1? Because before we start to get into, okay, what is your bottom?
Well, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you find it's easier like coming at it from a religious rules standpoint of view, or do you find it more effective like if you give your testimony?
Well, and that's the thing. I don't come as a religious. But see, it's a difference between coming at religious good dealers with like doctrines, dogmas.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Now, and that's the whole difference, because when you're coming through the Holy Scriptures, you're coming through as Jesus saw what he taught. He taught, okay, what he said was the greatest laws, when he said, okay, well, to love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and to love your brother as yourself. But the second is greater than the first, which is having that common touch with people. What's use to me, as as Bishop said, what good is being so don't be so heavenly minded you ain't no earthly good. I can't reach nobody, no common touch. That's where you say the common touch comes into play. To where the testimony, I have to show a testimony.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm teaching, if I'm giving a group on freedom, am I free? And they're looking to see that freedom inside of me. So, okay, well, the same as someone that when I was locked up, when people came in and taught when I was in prison, I'm looking to see, okay, does your lifestyle match what you're telling me? So what are you doing that's going to stop me from going out there and wanting to pick up another pack where I know I can make $200, $300, $400 in like 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
To what you want me to go get a job? Why? What's the end game of it?
Is that how you run your group, like questioning like that, or is it like, or do you do it through a personal testimony type deal?
I utilize myself. I put myself on the chopping block all the time. However, I put them out there as well, show them a different things that I go through. Just like, it was a time to where I lost my apartment. I lost my car. My car got repoed like a mug, but out of bad decisions. But I didn't use. I didn't go out there and drink behind it. And then say, well, okay, if you were placed in that same situation, what would you do?
What do you mean by putting them out there? Do you mean by putting yourself out there? You put them out there? I'm not badgering. I'm just interested.
No, yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm interested in the breakdown of your group.
Right. Yeah, because I put, like I said, I say to anyone that is in there, I say, okay, who's going to go on the autopsy table? So I just like in the autopsy table, you rip it, you look inside, and then pull out.
Do people raise their hand for that?
Huh? Not many, but it comes to the point to where, I mean, there's like, you'll be surprised the number of people that actually want to know why I do what I do, and like I say, once you get to that point to where it gets past, because I did that, said, man, I don't want nobody, I don't want my anonymity, bro. You know what I mean? My anonymity was shot when I was out there stealing. They was out there.
I got to stop for 1 second.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
babe, my wife, I got to stop and just say I love you. You're the best wife ever.
Kelly
Love of my
Ann
life.
Wasaki.
That's right. That's my
Or as
wifey
his
there.
mom said,
She's-
Wasaki.
She's logged in to watch and check me out.
Yes, that's the
Babe,
boss.
I hope I look all right, babe, on camera. Love you.
Shout out to Wayne, Kelly's
Lane.
sister, Lane.
That's Lane. That's not
I
Kelly's
put the
sister.
his brother.
That's not Kelly's brother either.
I said it backwards twice.
That's Lane. Lane's got nothing to do with Kelly. However, he knows Kelly. Lane seen me at my home group. Man.
Wrong Lane. I was thinking of her brother. I just seen
His
him.
name is Ian.
Ian. Sorry,
Yes,
Ian.
yes, get it together.
Awesome.
That's what I'm talking about, babe. As long as I look good for you. All right.
That's all that counts.
Hey, Kelly's actually going to be on here so she's going to be our guest on Thursday. Kelly will be our guest here on Thursday. So we got Tim today, and then Kelly's coming Thursday, we're working up some family stuff. We're going to do we were talking about doing a blended family podcast. See how blended families are. Those can be tough. So we were talking. Me and my wife were talking about doing that.
Wow.
But she's coming on here Thursday, kind of speak about some of the services that her company does, the organization she works for. So, but Tim, I want to go back. So, do you still do groups over at the Healing Place?
Actually, my main focus right now, I have done groups over there at the Healing Place, but my main focus right now is here, because I see this is where a greater need is.
What kind of led you to McShin? How'd you stumble upon McShin?
Funny. I was actually led here, man. It was I was talking to Miss Karen Stanley, because she was telling me how, how everybody's doing, checking in, see how everything's doing, I was congratulating her on her
Retirement.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, seeing how everybody's doing.
She retired quickly, man. Once that thing went into place, she was gone. She left the state of Virginia.
That's
and,
it.
And went
That's
up
it.
To, I think, Connecticut.
That's it. That's it,
I don't
man.
blame
That's
her.
what it
She
is. I mean,
deserved. She deserved it.
You
so
get
it's good.
you get that vacation in there, and then next thing you know, that's it. Time to move on, you know. But I was asking, man, and then and I seen, so I seen your picture. I'm like, where's Jesse at? It's just like, oh yeah, the McShin Foundation, and he's doing kind of well. I just looked it up, and then I remember McShin came to. I was at James River. McShin Foundation came through. It was a resource fair that they had.
Oh
So,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, I had a resource fair when I was in James River before I came home. I mean, I still remember the time. I was like, man, wow, just kind of, and it's like called and there you go. Looked you up on Facebook. I was like, I'm gonna hit him up, man. Boom. And next thing you know, we got hooked up, and I'm like, hey, I was like, man, I can remember this cat used to come up in the peer minister's office. Do you know he used to come into the peer minister's office, man? I mean, but you still stayed the same. When you want to see like the embodiment, when you talk about like testimony, that's a testimony of someone who had you've had the drive and you were done. You wanted to make a change. You wanted a betterment for your family, and then, like I said, as a peer mentor, I seen that, and I was like, I can't come out and say, man, look, man, you're gonna do this, do that. Only thing we could do is give the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same thing with the word. Only thing we do is, hey, here's the information. You got to have the honesty, open mind, and willingness. That the how of what the program is. The honesty, open mind, and willingness. So you had those three, and you grasped onto it. You caught hold to it. Caught fire. Psh, look
Yeah.
at you now.
Yeah.
That's how I got
God definitely has blessed me.
Right.
So those groups, man. I'm thinking about like the groups that you were able to conduct here. You think you'd be able to conduct that over at the Healing Place?
Yes. Yes. I surely
Man, one
will.
time, let me tell you,
Confidence.
share a
I
story
surely
with you.
will.
One time I did a group at the Healing Place. I'll never forget this, man. Al Jackson, I love him to death. We still talk, man. We'll text every now and then.
Yes.
Yeah. he called me up one time. So I did a group. And so those of y'all out there, if you're not familiar with the Healing Place, it's a great organization. I love it.
You better have a big
place,
book.
Yeah, exactly. Place saved my life. And if you're not out the big book, then you're in trouble, right? They're one way
Yes,
with their
yes.
pathway, which
Right.
I get it. It saved my life, but it's got to be AA principles, AA big book,
Right.
recovery dynamics is all pulled from the AA big book. And so one time I did a class, and when I was a peer mentor, I always did my classes. I did both the basic text and the big book. So I'd have the basic text with me, which the basic text, everybody out there, is the big
NA.
book of Narcotics Anonymous. And then I'd have the big book, and I would read out of both things, and I would kind of pull different stuff out of them, and I'd do my classes, and never had an issue. And then one day, it was an old alumni. I'm not gonna put him on blast, but this old alumni walked through my group, and
was it?
He seen me doing
Who was it?
he seen me doing this one class, and I was quoting the basic text. And then he ain't put a client complaint form on me. I'm not even a client there no more. I'm not even a staff member because I worked there for a little while. And he put a complaint form, and Al called me at work.
Jesse, who was
it?
What was the complaint for?
Because I was teaching out the basic text.
Yes.
I
yes.
thought that's what they. Oh,
They
NA
only
is
want-
the basic text.
yeah,
they only
they
want the
want
big book. Okay.
right? And so Al calls me. I'm at work, and Al calls me, and when Al calls, I want to talk. I mean, I love Al. He's a mentor of mine. I listen to him, and like he calls me up, and he's like, Jess, did you do a class yesterday? He's like, did you use the basic text? I was like, yeah, Al, of course I did. I do that all the time. And then he went on and telling me, explaining to me, and I got mad at Al. I was mad as I'm ready to hang up on him. Like, you gonna call me on my day off? I volunteered my time to come in there and do a class, and you complaining because I used the basic text. But I get it. That's the way they do there. One thing that's different, again, man, I love that place. So I am not knocking them in, and I'll still do classes. I haven't done one in a while. I think I'm going to call them, and Ray Porter's running it now. I'm going to give him a call, man. Good friend of mine. Come go down there and do a class. But, one thing that's a little different here is that we're definitely open to all pathways. So you can facilitate a group, but it's just got to be recovery related, And there's times where some of the participants in the groups might complain, might get a little upset, might file, what we call grievance. They might do stuff like that, or they might, we do surveys. They might fill out and put complaints on there. We do our best to kind of facilitate through that and monitor our facilitators, but we're open to every pathway. So that's a good thing here. The Healing Place gave me what I needed, and I'm forever indebted to that place, man. God worked through that building and blessed me and gave me what I needed. One time, right, and we're talking about, bringing that, you're talking about your faith in Jesus and religion, and kind of like coming at the steps with that mentality, which is nothing wrong with that. I don't really consider myself. I don't say I consider myself a religious guy, but I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I'll go to church every now and then. I'm just not as committed to the church route as others. But I love it. I love. I can walk into just about any church and feel God. So that's what I like. I like to go to church where I can feel God. But I want to share something with y'all because it reminds me of when we facilitate this type of message. We got to be very, very mindful of keeping an open mind, to those that are in those groups. So one time I go to see Al, and I'm just going to visit him. I'm working. I'm not at McShin. I'm actually HR director over at this assisted living community I worked at. And I'm just stopping through to visit Al, and I'm talking to him about. I just met my wife. I just met her, I think. I'm talking about how we're dating and this and that, and he asked me, so you're not married yet? And I'm like, no. He's like, are y'all living together? I said, yeah, we just moved in together. He's like, what? And he hands me, this is what he does. He hands me this Bible stuff, right? Yeah. It's like a thing he had on his desk that and he gives it to me, right? And he's like, man, you need to read this. You shouldn't be. And so right away, right, and I love Al, but right away, man, I closed up.
It was like an attack.
Yeah, I felt like
it was more of an attack.
Yeah, but it closed me up to like what he was trying to give me, because I felt like he was shaming me for like my actions, and I was, but I love Al, and we're cool to this day, but I'll never forget that, and that's helped me with what I do when I deliver my message, because I'm diehard NA, right? I'm not promoting NA. I'm not any like guru of NA, but it's my pathway. I'm diehard to it, but I've learned I can't make anybody do that anymore. Like I used to tell people, man, well, look, if you don't hold hands with your sponsor and pray before step work, you're doing it the wrong way, right? And then I slowly realized, man, my way ain't the only way, right? I had, and that's helped me, but that encounter that I had with Al really helped me when I facilitate groups, when I'm doing one-on-ones, just help me in my operations of what I do here, man, because I got to be open, because I've definitely struggled with that when I first started working here, because I had that mindset. I had the Healing Place mindset. Like, look, this is the way it's got to be. You know what I mean? Because it was pretty strict there, right? Hold the big book up. It's got to be done this way, right? And and I started working here, and I got a rude awakening. Like, it's can't do that here. And I also learned there's no cookie cutter way to recover.
Yeah, what works for you don't work.
No cookie cutter way, and I got to be very mindful of that. But let me tell you, I want to thank you, man, for giving your time, because that's the one thing that I've learned is like, we can lose money, we can lose the house, we can lose the wife, we can lose all that material stuff, but time is one thing we'll never get back, man. So when somebody is just willing to give their time, period, with no compensation, volunteer, give their time, that means a lot to me, and some participants might not see it, That's just the nature of it, man. But I'm grateful and I'm thankful that you come here and you give your time. You're willing to do that. That's real important. There's a lot of people here at McShin that just don't get enough recognition for that. Like they're giving of their time and they don't get no compensation for it at all. They're just here to give, because it's what God would do, right? It's what, if you're going to follow the principles of the Bible, that's what it's about, right? And you don't even got to say that. It's just that's what it's about. That's the principles,
It says go.
Very spiritual.
It's like don't. And matter of fact, it's written. Funny you said that. That's one of the mandates that Jesus said. He's like, look, don't look for no compensation. Just go and spread the word, spread the gospel. Save people, heal people, bring them in the family. But you brought up a good point, and the reason why, as far as it's important to, like I say, pray before do the steps, anything, because what that does is say like the serenity prayer. It brings God into the circle, so that way we get out the way, He comes in.
So important for you and important for you.
It's more
that work for you. Yeah.
Could we get even as a sponsor? I tell my sponsees, I'm saying, let's bring God into the circle, so that way I'm not gonna be the way. I'm not gonna give you any good ideas because my best ideas kept me drunk. You know what I'm saying? So that basically allows room for who needs to be there. You know, because it's more. It's like coming here. It's like more. As a matter of fact, in my last group, you know, I was explaining to them. I said, y'all looking at me like, you know what I'm saying, some guru or something. Like, nah, I'll go through the same thing y'all go through.
Yeah, you got a car repoed.
Yeah, I'm serious.
She be laughing at that. Sorry, man.
Hey, man, look.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you a story about that. Man, that joint was so funny, man. I'm laying in the back, right? So I'm with staying with the pastor and
How long have you been in recovery at this time too? Clean.
Actually, I've been sober since 2000, man.
So when the car got repoed, how long was it?
I was home, man. I was like in the church, man. I was supposed to have nothing taken away from me, but I stopped paying my payments on time, trying to pay payments and doing, because I had a Lexus, man. It was outside of it was all outside.
I don't want to pay the bill for that no
Man,
more.
look, man, no, it was all
Lexus
outside
car
of man. Look, man, I'm telling you, the stuff that you do in the name of that thing called false sense of entitlement. I thought I was entitled to have a Lexus because I'm home, I've got a good job, then I'm entitled to get this car. But reality says, okay, it's outside of your means because you got to deal with maintenance, you know, parts. You know, it's called getting the oil change, where you got to get this certain type of oil, and then now being that you have this type of cylinders, you have to pay this. I'm like, why can't I get the cheap one? Like, no, we can't give you that because you have a Lexus. You got to get this. When I go to get gas, I can't get 89. I have to buy 93. But and like I said, those things, and then, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the maintenance of it, driving it like it's tried to drive it like it was a Ford Bronco, but
So they ended up coming and getting that thing.
Man, they came and they snatched that joint, man. They repoed the heck out. They repoed the heck out of that joint, man.
Let me tell you, man, one time when I was working at the Healing Place, and when I was working there, we had this guy. So at the Healing Place, they'll allow, if you alumni out and like you're down on your luck or something, they'll allow you to come back and stay in the building.
Yep.
Right. And there was a gentleman staying in the building, and he had I don't know what the car was, nice car, and he had nice rims on it, right? And so it's parked in the parking lot, Healing Place also has what's called security, right? And security is just a participant that's in the program, and they're supposed to monitor the front desk and make rounds outside. And so he got mad at security because security didn't catch this, but like the repo man came and repoed his rims, like took his rims,
Took the rims and left the car.
left the car sitting right there, man.
Man,
Dude was so
yes.
mad he was in community mad, trying to hold him accountable, man. I was like, man, you pay your daggone
Pay your
bill,
bill.
Pay your
man.
rim
Pay your
bill.
bills, man.
Exactly. Manage your bill.
But look, we're coming to a close, man. We've
Yes.
been on here for a good little while. It was really good hearing what Timothy had to say. Travis too. Any parting words, Timothy?
Safe, sane, and sober. 2 out of 3 is good. Stay sober and stay safe. The
Okay.
sanity, you can work on that day by day.
All right. What about you, Travis?
Keep your heads up and one foot in front of the other.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Steve, you got anything back there? Any parting words for anybody out there?
We'll watch us tonight from Henrico West Live.
Henrico West Live tonight. So check it out. You know who the speaker is yet?
Jesse Jones.
Jesse Jones. Jesse Jones will be speaking. No relation to me, but he's got a great name. Jesse Jones speaking tonight at the jail. It's a live podcast. We do a hope shot out there. We're really grateful for Sheriff Gregory, Henrico County, man. She allows us to come in there every Tuesday. I think Travis and Timothy both have spoke there. So they allow us to go in there, and there's a program, a jail pod in there, a recovery pod, and we're able to go in there and give a nice, good hope shot. So really grateful for that. So tune in, check that out. Remember, subscribe to the podcast, like the podcast, share it, and importantly, share it, man. Just share this stuff for us so we can get it out there. And remember, God, recovery, self. God, recovery, self.
Priorities.
That's the priorities right there, y'all. God, recovery, self.
Yep.
All right, peace.